Good afternoon. My name is Mercedes Thurston, and I'm the Mentor Protégé Program Manager for the Department of Navy Office of Small Business Program, led by our distinguished director, Mr. Jimmy Smith. On behalf of OSBP, we thank you for joining us today. We started this webinar series as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic as a way to continue outreach, but receive such rave reviews that we've decided to keep it going, committing to hosting at least 3 webinars a month. The DON recognizes small businesses are the catalyst of innovation, and we use this platform as a way to attract new business partners. You can view previously recorded events on our website under Outreach and Past Event tabs, or visit our YouTube channel. I would like to direct you to our website at www.secnav.navy.mil/small business, where you can find a wealth of information, including our DON OSBP operations plans, locate your small business professional, and find information on how to do business with the DON, including the command's long-range acquisition forecast. As a heads up, our website is currently an ongoing upgrade, so continue to check back for all of the new information that you'll see. To stay current on DON OSBP upcoming events, you can register for our mailing list on the homepage of our website. To stay up to date about upcoming industry days, command outreach, and in general, what's happening across the DON, I encourage you to connect with us on our social media platforms, which includes Facebook, which is at facebook.com/Navy OSBP, Twitter, we're DON_OSBP, or LinkedIn, where you can search for DON OSBP. As a reminder, Sea, Air, and Space will be happening August 1st through the 4th, with the Small Business Day being August 3rd. Make sure you go and sign up. Information will be available on our website. And Navy Gold Coast will be September 1st and 2nd, a virtual event that we hope you can attend. Today, we have a dynamic speaker. Ms. Natalie Yacoub-Pugh is a member of the Defense Intelligence Agency Office of Small Business Program. She serves as an advisor to DIA leadership on all small business related matters. She's a small business advocate promoting utilization in DIA requirements to strengthen the industrial base. Additionally, she's the program manager for DIA's Mentor Protégé program and also the subcontracts manager. Previously, Ms. Yacoub-Pugh was the contracting officer for the Virginia contracting activity. In this role, she served as a trusted business advisor on multiple acquisition strategies for complex requirements. Before joining DIA, Ms. Yacoub-Pugh was an acquisition support analyst to DIA for a small defense contractor responsible for providing vital insight. She has also worked at 2 other federal agencies as a project administrator, overseeing guest operations for launch and landing activities at NASA's Kennedy Space Center, and was a privacy compliance officer for the United States Air Force. Ms. Yacoub-Pugh earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of South Florida, and is also DOWIA, or Defense Acquisition Workforce Improvement Level 3 certified in contracting, and a member of the Defense Acquisition Corps. I'm going to turn it over to you, Natalie. I'm sure we're going to get some great information. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you so much, Mercedes, for that introduction. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for coming and learning about the DIA today. Feel free to ask any questions, like she said, in the Q&A sections. I really want this to be an engaging session to where you guys will be asking questions throughout the briefing. The briefing is pretty short, but there's a lot of room for questions. So with that, I'm going to have the next slide, please. So today I'd like to talk to you about who we are and what we do, meaning the DIA's Office of Small Business Programs, how to engage with us and the program offices, subcontracting, our subcontracting program and where it is right now, our mentor protege status, our 8A business development, and then provide you guys with a future small business forecast, just a sample. Next slide, please. Oh, thank you. So who are we and what do we do? Well, we're an advocate. That's what we do. We're an advocate for the small business community to ensure that small businesses are included in the market research and considered for contract actions and address contract performance concerns, if I can speak today. Market research is invaluable. Small business response to market research is invaluable to us because that is how we actually work our set-asides. DIA does use the rule of two, the viable rule of two. So that's how we know what acquisitions we want to set aside, or even if we're going to do a socioeconomic set aside. So market research, responding to market research is a big one for us. Next, we provide acquisition support to the contracting office by reviewing acquisition strategies for every contract action that's over $10,000 and above. We conduct industry outreach events by meeting with small businesses to assist them in understanding the DIA mission and the procurement process at DIA. We are responsible for adhering to the SBA's regulations for the 8A Business Development Program. We do manage a mentor protege program that is overseen by the DoD. And last but not least, we ensure the appropriate use of small business primes in accordance with their respective negotiated subcontracting plans. And we'll get into subcontracting a little bit later, along with MPP and the 8A program. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how do you engage with us? Well, currently we are offering, and we created an introduction to DIA. It's a briefing to small businesses. The topics include where solicitations are posted, security information, and how the DIA OSBP can assist you when working with DIA. The target audience, as seen, is small businesses that are trying to get into the IC. Maybe they've never done business with DIA, or they're wanting to understand how to break into the IC. Also, the advertisement is on sam.gov, and we do update it quarterly. The event is held on MS Teams. And just to let you know, we do have a upcoming one. Our next one is in July. I believe it's the 13th. Don't quote me on that, but I will give you a link for the information on sam.gov. Next slide. So that's how you engage with DIA's Office of Small Business Programs. But you guys want to engage with the program offices, and we are cognizant of that. And really quick, like I'm going to do a poll, and I'm going to ask in the Q&A, if you could do me a favor for those that are on, if you could just tell me yes or no if you've ever heard of this program called Natapedia. And I'll give it a little bit of time to populate. Oh, yes. So there's a lot of no's in here. All right. Awesome. Awesome. They're going to kill me for using that platform probably for this, but it's okay. So with that, Natapedia is one of the open engagement sessions, open engagement platforms that we have to engage with the program offices. And so what is it? It enables, I'm sorry, give me one moment. Sorry. Natapedia enables DIA for us to express the capability needs clearly and concisely to a large community of innovators and encourage participation from both established partners and companies that have never worked with federal agencies. This is an invitation to have a collaborative engagement with industry and academia. Natapedia is an unclassified website communicating the needs to the solution providers. It enables linkage of mission, so this is the key, it's linkage of mission needs to innovative ideas and solutions that we're looking for. Also, it's an open engagement with industry and academia. So before we go on, so Natapedia, if you go out to the dia.mil website and there's a business tab, and under it, it'll say Natapedia. And if you click there at the very bottom of the page, and please bear with us as the Navy is also experiencing some website changes. So are we. We're undergoing a website makeover as well. One of the things that you'll see is things are going to shift and change. But to find out where the needs exactly are on the web page, you're going to go to the very bottom, and there's 11. There's one, and the Natapedia allows for, or not allows for, but The mechanism is open. So it uses any type of acquisition strategy required, and it including the FAR-based and non-FAR-based contracts. So how are solutions submitted through DIA Nitapedia? Well, if you're wanting a non-FAR-based contract, you still have to go look at the FAR-based solicitations, because that's how you're going to submit your idea or your solution to the need. So it's a broad agency announcement or a commercial solutions opening. And the commercial solutions opening is not the standard that most of industry knows with OTs. This is actually one that's a FAR-based requirement. And it contains the instructions to submit that white paper. Also, the process does meet the entry point based on the FAR for the acquisition process. And as I mentioned, the needs and requirements do map to the DIA mission areas. So that'll give you a little more insight into the DIA mission and how programs may be broken up. The website is posted right here at the bottom of the slides, and you can find more information there. With that, I'm going to pause and I'm going to see, do you guys have any questions on Nitapedia so far?
So we've gotten a few.
Okay. Or any questions at all. This is a good moment to pause and ask for any questions. It doesn't have to be towards Nitapedia only.
Okay, first one. Does DIA market survey procedures include utilization of dynamic small business search? And if you're going to talk about it later, just let us know and we can put it later, or you can go ahead and answer it now.
So yes, it does. We do use the DSBS for many different facets, whether we're looking for 8As, whether we're looking to see what capabilities exist. But yes, we do use the DSBS system, and our cores and project officers who are doing the acquisition research and conducting a lot of the market research also use it too. And we navigate them to those sites as well.
Okay, so another question we got, I think this is about Nitapedia, is to access the Nitapedia site, do you have to be, is it only for .mil users or is it open to anyone?
It is open. That's the best part. And the Nitapedia program is actually going to go it's undergoing some changes, and they're going to make it a little more user-friendly for submissions and feedback. But yes, the dia.mil website is an open website. And under the business tab, like I mentioned, there's the Nitapedia tab, and that can tell you all those different needs. And there's also a lot of Q&A at the top as well, that if you have any questions, start there.
Okay. Next question. We're a new small business without facility clearances. Is it required to have a facility clearance to do business with DIA?
That is our number one question. And in most cases, and when I mean most, I mean 95% of the cases, yes, a facility clearance is required, and it's required at the top secret level. So that is challenging, I know, for a lot of small businesses that are starting out, because we get a lot of questions or comments like it's the chicken and the egg. You got to have a requirement to have the facility clearance, but you got to have the facility clearance before you can get the requirement. So we are completely cognizant of that. We have in the past, and we are looking at working with some subcontracting opportunities to work with primes to be able to potentially sponsor that. That's an avenue we are investigating. I wouldn't put a lot of expecting it now, here, tomorrow kind of hope, because it is a process that we have to work through with our security office.
Got it. Does DIA offer unsolicited meetings to display a company's product and or service?
Not really. It's going to be harder in an unsolicited environment, especially now that we are returning and we're reconstituting our agency back to staffing, getting out of the COVID environment and going back to pre-pandemic kind of work schedules. So we do not, but I can tell you, Nitapedia is a little bit of a soft spot in my heart, because I also helped stand up the first iteration of it. And what I will say is that those white papers go directly to the PMs. like first and foremost, that they come in through the box, and then they are shipped to the program officers and the PMs and project officers for those requirements and those needs. So, and I believe right now there's close to 100 needs listed out there. So there's a wide, vast depth and breadth of the things that are required. Needopedia can be one of those potential areas, and I'm going to star this. This is an asterisk. This is the rare circumstance where you might have a requirement that would not need a facility clearance. That is I've only seen it of like a couple of times throughout the life of Needopedia thus far. I wouldn't hang a hat on it, but there is potential there.
Okay, we have a few more, but I think we do have one more that's in relation to this slide that I want us to answer, and then I want you to go ahead and move through the slide. So the question is, does the BAA have funding behind it? Sometimes BAAs are released to collect white papers only, and then if it is of interest, it will get shared with the PM who may have some funding. Can you explain the process behind the submission to the BAA on the Needopedia?
Of course. That's a great question. So what I will say is that yes and no, because it depends. And I know that's the answer the industry hates when we say it depends. So one of the things I can tell you is under the sam.gov announcement for both the CSO and the BAA, they will have what's known as a call. A C-A-L-L, a call. And that is a call for white papers. I can tell you that usually has like that's an immediate need. And then when you see the needs under the Needopedia page, it just depends on the solution that's being provided. And one thing I will say is please read the directions on how to structure your white paper, because they're not looking for a capability statement. What they're looking for is actually a tailored response to that need. And it all depends on the solution that's provided. And in some cases, I know there's a program called MARS right now. That's our big program that we're being known for right now within the industry world is a program called MARS. There is a need under Needopedia to capture all of the interest for the MARS program and for people to be able to respond. And they vet those white papers all the time for awards. So, and then there's another need, Need 11, that's an emerging technologies. That one actually ties to an actual test event that is conducted. And so when you see the call for those, or you see that one, you see those open deadlines, I highly encourage you to look at that. So yeah, so it depends. It just depends on what the submission is coming into the box, into the Needopedia box.
Okay, let's go through some more slides and then we'll hit some more questions.
Okay, perfect. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to get into the actual things that our office does on a day-to-day basis, and that's starting with the subcontracting program. So DIA is really unique in that we do not use the ESRS system. So if there's anything that you get from this slide today, DIA does not use the ESRS system. There is another system called the IC-ESRS system. It is for the intelligence community to use. If you would like the actual link to potentially register there or to see what that's about, by all means, email the subcontracting at DOTUS down here. It comes to me and I'll respond. But we are currently creating aggressive goals. We are really trying our hardest to find subcontracting opportunities and bring more small businesses into the pool at DIA. And one way to do this is to provide opportunities through subcontracting, because once you get in there, you can easily understand the process and the procurement process for DIA. And we've had a lot of success with some of our larger IDIQs, which there's a slide after this, with our larger IDIQs and bringing in some new businesses. And we continue to see and we're continuing to march forward with subcontracting goals that are based on total contract value where appropriate. So it gives a little bit stronger and teeth, because we're like, no, we want it to have the higher dollar. We want it to have the higher percentage, instead of relying on the prime to dictate the goal. This allows us to dictate the percentage of the entire contract. We do continuously collaborate with industry on our requirements. A lot of our draft RFPs, we put goals in there, and then we look at the feedback, you know, what industry's saying for that requirement. Hey, that's really lofty. Or we've even had people that have recommended to increase our socioeconomic goals, because they said, oh, we found, you know, there's a large pool of businesses that we can tap into for this. So there's that. And the next bullet, like it says, the biannual reports to be submitted through the ICESRS system. We still follow the FAR in that guidance, and the DFARS as far as the where to submit, or not where to submit, but conducting of the subcontracting reports and making sure that they're in line with the subcontracting plans that have been attached. Our office is intimately involved with the subcontracting plans that are negotiated on the large prime contracts where those opportunities exist and they exceed the $750,000 threshold. And if you have any questions specifically about our subcontracting program, or you want to learn more, I highly recommend you reach out to me at the subcontracting@dotus.mil. That's the easiest way and make sure it's subcontracting based, because our system put subcontracting in the title. Our system kind of gets wonky every once in a while with receiving emails. So I'll flip to the next slide if I can speak. So I mentioned earlier about several of our multiple award IDIQ vehicles, and we've got a lot. And one of the first ones, our biggest one, is the Solutions for Intelligence Analysis, or SIA3. It is the third iteration. The IDIQ was awarded in 2019, and it's a 10-year vehicle with both a large business and a small business track. So that one does have small businesses as well. Next is our Data Science Operations Requirement Engineering and Exploitation, or our DORI 2 contract. This was awarded in FY20. There are no small business primes on this, but there is a push for small business participation with very strong subcontracting goals. Specifically under DORI, since we just had our industry day last week, I will say one of the things we had the DORI 2 primes sit on a panel talking about subcontracting. And one of the things DIA is trying to encourage is growth in the small business, highly specialized technical skill sets, which DORI encompasses, to increase the vendor pool. Next is Helios. It's our research and development vehicle for advanced technologies and space counterspace. Again, this one, there are no small business primes, and it was awarded in FY18, but it does have strong subcontracting goals. Next is our Financial Logistics Administrative Services Requirements, Executive Service and Security, or FLAIRS. And this was conducted as a hub zone set aside, and it was awarded in 2019. And then finally, this is the most recent one that we have, and it is our Site 3 vehicle. It is cradle to grave IT services, everything from development of apps and apertures all the way to services, operation and maintenance services, if I can speak today. And my apologies, this is actually been awarded. It was awarded this FY21. I did not realize when I looked at this that I had left that in there. There is a large and small business track. And this one also, much like DORI 2, has a strong subcontracting goals listed in there. There are about 140 vendors on the Site 3 vehicle. excuse me. And if you go out to the dia.mil website, again, get really familiar with that dia.mil site. There's a lot of great things in there. Our office has a website, has a tab under there. This vehicle, the Site 3 vehicle, also is on there. And I believe if you were to look at references back to who all the awardees were, because there, like I said, there was over 140 awardees for that particular effort. It is a $12 billion effort, that Site 3. And SIA 3, the top one, is a $17 billion IDIQ. So any questions thus far on subcontracting, Mercedes?
We have a lot of questions. So I'll start kind of with, I think this is kind of what you've been talking about. Will SIA 3, Dory 2, or Helios vehicles have on-ramp for small businesses or ability to add small business subcontractors?
So yes, in fact, so we did have an industry engagement, an industry day last week, a small business industry day last week. And one of the things that we are going to be doing is posting the questions and answers from that session. In there, you can get a hold, it'll give you the directions to how to get a hold of the Dory 2 primes. And if you have specifics about the SIA 3 vehicle or the Helios vehicle for who those primes are, we'll be more than happy to get you guys in touch with those businesses as well, to be able to connect with them. I believe Site 3 and SIA 3 are the two vehicles that have on-ramping. Dory 2 does not have on-ramping, that I don't remember that having on-ramping, and I know for a fact Helios does not.
Okay. So for SIA 3, I just want to make sure, because we kind of have a similar question. Will there be any further onboarding for SIA 3? So from what I heard you say, yes, you think Site 3 and SIA 3 do have follow-on. And if they want to compete or get information, they should just reach out to you?
Yeah, yes. Both vehicles allow for on-ramping. I don't know when and if they will open, if and when they'll open the on-ramping function.
Okay. Will DIA use GSA and or STARS 3 vehicle for small businesses with top secret facility clearances who do not have access to Site 3 or other large IDIQ vehicles?
Yes. So one of the things I did not mention is where you can typically find the DIA requirements. So much like Navy, we post our requirements on BetaSAM, or gosh, not BetaSAM anymore, SAM.gov. We also utilize NASA SUP and for hardware, IT hardware buy and software buys. We do use GSA. We've used OASIS. We've used the multiple award schedules, especially with the new category management. And we do use the GSA 8A stars program.
Okay.
So we are, oh, and then if you're looking for a specific requirement that is classified, those are typically posted to either the NSA ARC or the NRO ACE.
Okay, thank you. So I don't know if you've kind of hit this or not. Well, no, you haven't, but since we're on kind of the services, what is DIA spending on IT services? Like how much money are you spending, maybe specifically to small businesses, if you're aware of that?
I am not.
Okay.
And I wouldn't, and also I don't know if I could even answer that.
Okay. Okay.
That gets into a little bit of a potential classified realm. So I wouldn't even have the first clue as to how much is spent on IT. I can tell you that one of the director's priorities has been the modernization of the JWICS network, which is obviously IT based. So I can tell you there's a high priority for that, I guess.
Okay.
Be what I would say.
Okay. Your contact information, will it be at the end of these slides?
Yes, it will.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Perfect. And just so everyone knows, the slides will be posted on our website. And as we mentioned, you'll be able to watch it on our YouTube channel. All right, let's hit some more slides. I think some of these questions are gonna kind of go into a lot of discussion behind it. So I want to make sure we get through the presentation and then we can kind of hit those big facility clearances, security clearance questions.
Yeah, that's the one that hits home. So,
yeah.
And my apologies for not including those slides in this slide deck as to how we get a lot of questions as to where to start with the facility clearance process. And I can talk through that a little bit at the end.
Okay, thank you.
We'll move to the next slide with that. Okay, so this is something that hits home for both Mercedes and I. DIA does participate in the DoD's pilot NPP program. For those of you that are unaware, the NPP program was established in 1991 in November, and all the information you can find about how it works and what is entailed is in the Appendix I to the DFARS. And that's the 48 CFR Chapter 2. That's a really fancy way of just saying the DFARS. Right, Mercedes?
Yes, very fancy.
It is, it's fancy way. The NPP program was reapproved in the FY20 NDAA. DoD has been finalizing the instructions for the DoD agencies as far as the solicitations are concerned, and they relate to Project Spectrum. We do intend to release a solicitation in either FY21 or FY22. A lot of times we get asked, well, what's like the number of agreements? How many do you award? What is it based on? Well, a lot of the awards are based on the fiscal funding constraints, the number and quality of proposals that are received under the solicitation, and basically the availability of resource. So I'm just going to give you guys a little hint. I'm 25% of my office. So there's only 4 of us. And as much as I would love to be able to award 100 agreements a year, that's just not feasible. I wish. I wholeheartedly believe in the MPP program. I think it's phenomenal, but the resources are constrained because I'm also the subcontracts person as well. So our office is small, but you can find our solicitation when it's ready to be posted. You'll be able to find it on the sam.gov. I've actually got to change this slide too. Beta SAM no longer exists. It's now sam.gov. So I'm finding some areas I need to update. But also, how do you get a leg up on if you want to be a mentor or a protege with DIA is, remember that site I told you about, that Needopedia site? Well, properly aligning your capability to a mission need is essential. Even if the solution you're providing is a service, that's fine. But we would ask you to visit the DIA Needopedia page to gain more information. I'm gonna have you go back one more. For the current list of mission needs, and those mission needs do have an in-depth explanation of what it entails. If you have more questions about the MPP, you can either ask them here, or you can send an email to mpp@dotis.mil. Which is obviously our mentor protege box. With that, I am going to go to the next slide. And then, because I believe the next slide, I think I only have a couple more slides because we're getting close to the forecast that I can give you guys thus far for what I know. And then we can really delve into those questions that you guys have. So yes. We get a lot of questions. Does DIA utilize the SBA's 8A business development program? Absolutely. We do it either on a direct award / sole source basis or competitive. For our process, if we're going to do a sole source, we may hold oral presentations, which are considered part of the market research phase. And here's the basic overview process for the sole source requirements. The program office, or the PMO, is going to conduct market research, and they request assistance to find potential 8As, small businesses, using the dynamic business search, or it can be putting out a notice on on sam.gov and asking for a call for capability statements specifically to that requirement. The acquisition staff will review the capability statements and the market research that they've found. And the PMO will select 3 to 5 organizations for oral presentations. So oral presentations currently are being held virtually, and they're held with the 8A company and the program management office, our office, and the contracts office. Then the PMO does conduct an assessment and selects an 8A for a potential award. Once they have been selected, the CO requests a proposal and information is sent to our office, but the CO requests the proposal, negotiates it, and coordinates with our office for the final product. OSBP requests SBA approval for the direct award to the eligible 8A participant. And if approved, the CO goes to award. I mean, it's really simple. This is a process that can be done in as quick as 30 days, and as quick as 30 days. Our average time from requirement to award right now is about 60 to 90 days, just given the nature, but as little as 30 days, these type of contracts can be done in our agency. Also, one thing I will mention about the 8A, I think you're going to see, and this is just Natalie's own personal opinion, but so we are seeing an increase in the requirements for the small disadvantaged business categories. We're getting ready to see an increase in the percentages that are expected to be done. It's going to jump. And the 8A program does fall under the small business or small disadvantaged business category. So I think you're going to see a lot of requirements that are going to initially shift or will be put into the 8A to help increase those numbers. So what we are asking from DIA to help, build up this 8A capability pool is if you are an 8A company and you have a TS facility clearance, I want you to send no more than 2 pages and a capability statement to our small business address that's here on the site. Send us that capability statement so we can get you into our database. As we go forward, like I said, we're going to see an increased percentage in the small disadvantaged category, the socioeconomic category. So we want to be prepped and ready to go and have that repository for the market research by our program offices, and be able to provide them some capability statements as well before they, while they are initially looking. So next slide. All right. So here is what I have coming up. The top 3 requirements are, I should have put the top 2. So the first one is that intro to DIA for small business. It's that course, that intro briefing that we provide. It's great. It's an intimate time. We cap the number of attendees so that we can have this engaging conversation, and it is a 2-way conversation. So I highly recommend that you go out to sam.gov and follow the directions and the instructions for the registration. And we currently will be doing July. We have a class in July, or a briefing in July, I'm sorry. We will take August and September off, just given the nature of the contract cycle and it being end of year, and trying to focus and helping our energy, focusing our resources to help the contracts office with their execution goals. And then we'll pick back up in October, November, and they're usually on a monthly basis from that point on. Next is the DIA Mentor PROTÉGÉ program, close to Mercedes and I's heart. We are currently working on that RFP. I would love to release it in FY21 with awards potentially being starting in FY22. But that comes down to, just resources and getting some final information from DoD. Excuse me. So realistically, as much as I don't want to say this, but realistically, it will more than likely be an FY22 solicitation and not an FY21 release, which hurts my heart, but that's okay. Next is Netapedia. It's the one that I told you about. The announcement is released, and it's open and continuous submissions. Next, we have a follow-on effort. It's IT in nature. It's called D3PS. It is a follow-on requirement. They are looking for an FY21 full and open competition with very strong subcontracting goals. That will be posted to the NSA ARC based on the classified nature. And the D3, I know someone's going to ask me what D3P stands for, and I just forgot it. So my apologies. I will have to get that back to you. Next is the AFMAS, which is the Agency Financial Management and Acquisition Support Services. The RFI just closed on this, and the acquisition strategy is still in the planning phase, but this will be a large IDIQ. And when I say large, I don't mean full and open. I just mean it's going to be a large dollar value IDIQ that they are looking to potentially make a small business set aside. So that's still in the acquisition strategies. Don't quote me on that when it comes out, and it's not what I said it was. Things change. It's just in its development work. Next, we have our human resource and operations support contract. That's going to also be another IDIQ. This will be a full and open competition with strong subcontracting goals. And when I say strong subcontracting goals, we typically try to shoot for between 35 and 40% of total contract value on these vehicles. So they're strong. It's not subcontracted dollars. It's got to be on the total vehicle. Next is a thing called JACITA training. This will be posted either on the NSA or NRO systems that I mentioned. It is tentative for the end of the FY, and it will be currently it's slated to be a small disadvantaged veteran-owned, service disabled veteran-owned small business set aside. And with that, I think the next slide is my contact information. So I can hit those questions now, Mercedes, if you like.
Okay.
I don't know how we're doing on time either. Are we doing okay for time?
Yeah, so we still have about 15 minutes. So okay. I'm gonna hit them and we're gonna keep going. So will DOD have its Mentor Protege Conference Industry Day APBI for fiscal 22 this summer or fall? That is not a question for myself or Natalie. That is a DOD question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it depends.
They are currently working on trying to get the programs together. So when we know something, we will be sure to pass that information along to everyone. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Next question. I want to make sure, will DIA's MPP agreements begin as credit or hybrid with DCMA in a mentor-based year with funding in the out years? So I can speak for Navy. Our mentor protege agreements they can be 100% reimbursable or hybrid. If you would like to do a credit agreement, the credit agreements go through DCMA. Natalie, how does DIA handle their mentor protege agreements? We
do not do credit agreements just because the nature of our stuff, DCMA doesn't always have insight into, especially our contracts system, because we don't use the standard DoD processes. So ours are all credit agreements that then follow the credit, or not credit, sorry, are funded agreements. Not credit agreements, funded agreements that follow the process of a regular contract award.
Okay. All right. Please review where we can view DIA's contract/subcontract opportunities.
So the contract opportunities are going to be on either the SAM.gov or NASA SUP if it's an IT hardware software buy. Or GSA, and that includes whether it's the multiple schedule or the schedules or the multiple award IDIQs that they have, such as OASIS or I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mercedes, STARS is a IDIQ now, right? I think it's an IDIQ.
I believe so.
Don't
quote me.
but those would be where you would find that. And then our classified requirements fall under the NSA ARC. As far as subcontracting opportunities, reach out to this. I'm actually going to backtrack. So reach out to the small business at dotus.mil email address and let us know, and a real quick overview of what your company's capability is. And then we can try and not match, but we can send you the vehicle that we see your capability falling under. We can send you the contacts for that particular vehicle.
Perfect. Does DIA publish market research results? You can say no. It's okay.
it's a yes. It's a yes. Well, it's a yes and no. So it's very contracting officer dependent. Okay. I have seen where in a draft solicitation where they did publish the Q&As and you could clearly see how the solicitation had changed from the draft submission for market research. I know we got that question last week in our industry day, and we are working with an answer, or working to get an answer, because it's contracting officer dependent. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. What issues would prevent a company from obtaining a security clearance with DIA?
Well, I to be honest with you, I can't answer that. But for those of you that are interested in the requirements to obtain a facility clearance and know what the process is, I highly recommend you go out to the DCSA, Defense Counterintelligence Security Agency. On their website, they have a complete guide. It's actually, they did a great job with how to obtain a facility clearance, and specifically TS, and they give you a checklist, and they have training videos and resources at your disposal. I did not include that information in this briefing, but if you want that information, come to my intro to DIA and come learn more on how to get a facility clearance.
Perfect. So that was the next question. What are the requirements to get a facility clearance, and how do we get it?
Again, go check the DCSA website. So we're a DoD entity. So we have to abide by the DCSA requirements. So starting there is going to be your first place as to how to get that facility clearance. Like I said, they've got a Center of Security Excellence, which is a great way to ask them questions and get help and support in obtaining that, to even understand the process for the facility clearance process. Last week, I believe we were told that the process right now, depending on what level you're at and where you're going, from 0 to TS facility can take about 15 to 18 months.
Wow. Okay, so this seems like I'm not sure if you'll be able to help, but a small disadvantaged business with 15 years experience, but can't seem to get a subcontract to get a TS clearance. So what do we get, or how do we get a TS clearance? I think we could refer them to the DCSA again, or do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, so I think one of the places that you could start is, talking with one of your primes that maybe has a TS facility clearance. Start there and see what they say they need you to do, if that's something they would even entertain. Also, I can tell you, if you check back to our industry day that we held, that industry event that we held last week, I would highly encourage you to check out the Q&As, because I believe we'll have responses to that as well from actual primes as to how they consider that as well.
Okay, so I think this question came up when you were talking about the 8A. What this company was told that they need a facility clearance for sole source contract. Is that true with the 8A firms, or when you're doing the 8A contracts?
So typically at DIA, if it was a DIA, if you were told, so I don't know if that was you were told that by DIA, but yes, at DIA, you need a TS facility clearance. In fact, if you go look on a lot of our solicitations that are listed out on sam.gov or even GSA, the first factor is the security factor, and it's a pass fail. Do you have a top secret facility clearance? That's typically our first factor.
Okay.
So I'm going to say yes.
Okay. On the sole source slide, please explain item number 1. PMOs conduct market research and or request assistance in finding potential 8A small businesses.
Okay, so either the PMO can work through their contracts office to post an RFI or a sources sought notice for 8A capabilities. Or if they've gone through and they've maybe looked at the dynamic business search, they can come to our office and we can help assist them as well to further refine if they didn't find what they were looking for. And typically we do encourage them to submit a sources sought notice on the sam.gov platform, because most of the time they're pretty unique, and we would rather have people write the capability statements directly towards what they're looking for. So does that answer your question? Hope that whoever that person was does not.
We'll go with yes for now. If they have additional follow-up, they can add more to the Q&A session.
Perfect.
Section. Okay, perfect. Should 8As with top secret facility clearances just awarded star 3 include their new award even if notice to proceed is pending?
I'm going to assume you mean sending us a capability statement. That I'm assuming it means sending us a capability statement. Yeah. So if yes, if you're an 8A and you have a top secret facility clearance, please send us a 2-page capability statement. And in your this is key. In your communication with us, we realize that some agencies do not want you to actually put that you have a facility clearance or what level of facility clearance you have on your capability statement. Please include it in the email that just says, yes, we have XYZ. We have a TS facility clearance, because we are cognizant that that is a sensitive thing to some agencies.
What is the title of sam.gov for the next training event in July? Where do they search, or what should they search?
So they should search Intro to DIA, and I believe it's second quarter. And I'm gonna backtrack on that really quick. Make sure you check the inactive, because sometimes the notices go inactive, and with the switch from beta sam to sam.gov, I've noticed some things. So, and that actually, I'm going to take a mental note to check our industry announcement to make sure that it did not archive itself or become inactive, I should say. But it's Intro to DIA. And the notice number, I believe, is SBP-21-0003.
Perfect. Do you have the name of anyone at SBA who can specialize in TS facility clearances?
No, I do not. Unfortunately, see, I don't like saying no, Mercedes.
I will say, if you go to our YouTube page, we did have a webinar on facility clearances, and the person who was there provided their information and did tell small businesses to go, if they have any questions, reach out to them. So go back and check. I'm not sure of the date, but I know we had one, a webinar this year where somebody came in to talk about facility clearances. And so that may be a good start of a point of contact. Oh, Mr. Mapes, is that correct? Let me double check. I want to make sure I'm saying the right name. Okay, perfect. So Mr. Mapes is the facility clearance person that we have, and he will be attending Sierra and Space as well as Gold Coast. So if you attend those events, you will also have an opportunity to ask him questions again, but go back and check out our webinar that's in the chat. You can go to the YouTube page and see what he has to say.
Also, Steve Mapes is the DCSA Small Business Director. So he's definitely someone you'll want to reach out to.
Yep. All of his information's in the webinar.
Yep.
For the upcoming JCITA set aside, should STV OSBs have top secret facility clearances or employees that can be read into TS SCI programs?
That one does need to have a TS facility clearance.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do subcontractors require facility clearances as well?
It depends on the prime, but typically, yes, the subcontractors do. But it depends on the prime. It all depends on the prime and what the prime wants to put down.
Okay. And these are just some housekeeping questions. So I do believe that someone put in the chat the link to the intro to DIA training session that's coming up. It is still active, Natalie, so don't worry. Somebody went and checked it. It is still active.
Perfect.
And the link is in the chat session for that. And then where you can find the files and then the webinar for today is also in the chat section. You can go to our YouTube page in a couple of days and the webinar will be up. Our website also has a past event section, and that's where we post the PowerPoint slides. And that will be available in a few days as well. So I don't believe we have any more questions. So, and we're just about out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and close us out. So Natalie, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. You provided a wealth of knowledge and we got lots and lots of questions. So think this was a great opportunity. So thank you so much for being here and providing your knowledge to us. For the audience, if you have any recommendations for topics you would like to see presented, please forward us an email at osbp.pao@navy.mil. Until next time, stay safe and healthy, and we look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Thank you, Natalie.
Thanks, everybody, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a blast.
Thank you.